Peace and blessings, y'all. In this corner boxing 24. Good evening, good evening, good evening. How's everyone doing this evening? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing pretty good on this side as always. God is great. God is good. I can't complain. So, I watched a podcast with Brian Custer, and he had Terrence Crawford on there. And Terrence Crawford said some things, man, that, that I agree with. I may not agree with everything he said, but he did say some things I agree with. Brian Custer asked him, a lot of different questions about the Errol Spence fight and about BLK Prime and the deal that he got, the deal that Adrian Broner got, and the breakdown with the fight with Errol Spence and why it wasn't happening, about his legacy and how he felt about that. And Terrence Crawford, man, he answered the question, man, pretty much straightforward, He basically said that he felt like they were dragging their feet and they wasn't really serious about the fight as he was, He also said that he never asked for a rematch clause. I know I've heard that, there was something about a rematch clause and, him asking for it, or, he said he never asked for a rematch clause. He just wanted to fight. So then Brian Custer asked him, he said, it seems like you were negotiating your fight that you have upcoming with David Avanesyan while this was going on with Terrence Crawford. And he said, yeah. He said, once I saw that things wasn't working out, I started working on a plan B. He said, because, he talked about his family and taking care of his family. He said he can't wait on nobody to take care of his family and do what he has to do. So he said, yeah, that was his plan B, and it worked out. He also said, when he was asked about the $10 million purse, he said, yes, he is getting $10 million. He also said that he already got half of the money up front, $5 million. And he said he'll get the other $5 million a week before the fight, before he even steps in the ring, which sounds very, very good. I mean, it seems like regardless of what I think or what I say, he's doing pretty good. Now, according to reports, I don't know, but according to the reports that I heard before, he wasn't even being offered $10 million to fight Errol Spence. But yet he's making $10 million to fight a fighter who's not in the top 5. Okay? That's not a bad deal, A fight that he should win, but he's making some money off of it. Why shouldn't he make money? He was an undisputed fighter at 140 pounds. And he got a WBO belt at welterweight. Why shouldn't he make money? Why shouldn't he take care of himself and the family? That's all I'm saying. So, he also talked about, he mentioned that he don't know what deal that Adrian Broner got. But he said that's the deal that he got. So he could only speak on that. He was asked about the fact of his legacy and fighting David Avanesyan. Does it hurt his legacy? That was a question that was asked. And he says he doesn't feel that it hurts his legacy. I really don't agree with that. I don't think David Avanesyan was a fight that, was important for him to take. But again, he's making $10 million, so I can't hate on that. Would he have made $10 million to fight somebody else? I don't know. I can't really say that. But then again, if he's making $10 million for David Avanesyan, why couldn't he make $10 million to fight Boots, right? Or Ortiz or Stanionis? I really don't know. I really can't say. But we do know he's saying that this is the purse that he's getting. So when he talks about wanting to fight Errol Spence, Brian Custer asked him, he said, is this fight going to happen in 2023? He said he really hope it does. He said, does he want the fight? Absolutely. Is he trying to get the fight? Did he do everything he could do? Absolutely. He said, but if he doesn't get the fight, he wishes Errol Spence the best on his career, and he's going to keep doing what he has to do to take care of himself and his family. I mean, that may not sound good to everybody, but basically, that's the truth. It is what it is. At the end of the day, he got to do what he feels is best for him, no matter what I think. He also talked about the fact that Lomachenko and Brian Russell and Gary Russell Jr. fought PBC and a top-ranked fighter, and they talked about Deontay Wilder more recently with Fury. PBC is a top-ranked fighter, how they was able to come together and get that fight, but so why him and Spence couldn't do that, right? Which is real. Why couldn't Spence and Terrence Crawford get the fight? I believe it has something to do with Bob Arum, because Bob Arum and Terrence Crawford didn't say that, but I'm gonna say that like Bob Arum said he was losing money with Terrence Crawford, which I don't understand how he was losing money with a guy that was selling out arenas. I really don't get it. A pound-for-pound fighter and somebody that's looked at the best pound-for-pound, so your job is to promote him the right way. So I don't get that part, But he said that those fight was made. So then Brian Custer was like, well, you're not with Top Rank anymore. And Crawford responded. He said, well, I thought it would have been even easier that I'm not with Top Rank anymore. I'm not with Bob Arum. Thought it would have been an easier situation, but it wasn't. So it's some pros and cons, man, to the interview. I think he wants to fight. I kind of believe he wants to fight. I'm not going to say he didn't want to fight. He seemed like he definitely wants it, but, I don't know the full story. I would have to hear the whole side from Spence, from Al Heyman. I mean, I can't say, but I just know from the interview, I think he did want to fight. I think Errol Spence wanted to fight too. I don't know what happened, okay? But what I do know is, if he doesn't fight Errol Spence, he's already fitted to be in the Hall of Fame. So there will be one of those fights that never happen, and that would be unfortunate, but that's how boxing goes. Sometimes this is, there's fights that we never get. Sometimes, okay. So, it's unfortunate, but Errol Spence is gonna fight Keith Thurman. Looks like in February, and it looks like he's gonna be forced to do that. And then the winner has to fight the winner of Stanionis and Ortiz. Now, what does that do for Crawford? He's fighting in December, which means he'll be ready sometime next year, early next year, to get another fight. So what's the move he's going to make? Maybe he could get a fight with Ortiz or Stanionis, or more importantly, Boots. Which I don't think he wants to really take that chance. He said himself that fighting Boots for Spence was high risk, low reward. So wouldn't that be the same for him? I believe so. So I'm just interested to see what he's going to do while he's on the sidelines waiting for Spence and Thurman to fight and Stanionis and Ortiz. Because he definitely can't fight another lower tier fighter and justify that, no matter how much money you're making. You're doing it, and a lot of people don't agree with it, but you definitely can't do it back to back. You got to fight a top tier fighter, okay? So that's pretty much it. I mean, in a nutshell, at the end of the day, the fight with Spence didn't happen, and he was asked, do you believe it's going to happen? He said he hopes so. At 154, 147, he said he's not really sure. I think he would prefer it at 147, though. But he also talked about Jermell Charlo, and he was asked about fighting Jermell Charlo, and he said, he'll beat Jermell Charlo. He said Jermell Charlo is an easier fight for him than Errol Spence. That's what he said, okay? Jermell Charlo had some things to say about him accepting the money and being the B-side and all of that. And Terrence Crawford responded by saying, well, even though he's undisputed and he's done some work to get to where he's at, he's still not in a position that I am or even Errol Spence. And he really can't talk on that. He said he would love to fight Jermell Charlo at 154. And if he can't get the fight with Errol Spence, he would love to get that fight. And that may be possible based on his status. He's with BLK Prime. They might be able to, work that out for him, So we just got to see what happens, man. I would love to see him fight Spence, but I definitely want to see them belts freed up. I want to see Boots get his shot. because everybody's getting a shot but him. Okay? So that's it. You know? That's all we got for right now. Peace and blessings in this corner, Boston 24. Please subscribe to the page. Please leave your comments. Everybody enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace.